Dear students, in today's session, let's learn about economic integrations. If you look at the post-World War period, integration of world economies through regional trading blocs seems to be very evident. Countries have been joining hands to reap the benefits of mutual trade. Here, let's have a look at some basic terminologies related to economic integration through international trade. Everybody would have heard about economic integration between world nations. Integrating economies simply refers to removal of all government actions that discriminate foreign and domestic goods as well as services. Let's see some terminologies related to economic integration. First one is Preferential Trade Agreement or PTA. It is a basic form of integration. Preferential Trade Agreement is a trading bloc that gives preferential access to certain products from the participating countries. Under this trade regime, preferences are extended to few countries that are members of the agreement. The non-members of the agreement are discriminated, which means no preferences will be provided to non-signatories. What happens when countries enter into PTAs? When countries enter into PTAs, there will be lower customs duty on those products originating from the member countries. Next provision for integration is Free Trade Agreements or FTAs. FTAs are a special case of PTAs where all tariff and non-tariff barriers are abolished and free access is allowed to the product of member countries. Generally, in FTAs, member nations maintain a zero level of tariff rates wherein each member can keep its own external tariff level for trade in various goods with non-members. Customs Union is the next level of integration in which member countries apply a common external tariff or CET on goods imported from outside. For common market, there will be free flow of labor, capital and output among the member countries. Finally, the economic union is the highest form of integration where members share a common currency and macroeconomic policies. Integration can be deep or shallow depending upon the nature and extent of integration. Now we'll see what are the provisions given by World Trade Organization in the formation of trading blocs. World Trade Organization or WTO, as you know, is the international trade facilitator. It provides a platform for the formation of regional trade agreements. RTAs are nothing but economic integration among world nations. This arrangement of integrating world nations is basically for carrying out goods and services trade. Formation of RTAs is a kind of economic integration which is gaining traction across the globe. Let's take a look at characteristics of RTAs. They do not have to be neighboring states. RTAs can cover larger geographical areas. They have no administrative body. RTAs are one of the prominent features of world trade, especially in commodities trade. About two-thirds of the world trade is being carried out on a preferential basis. The trend of forming RTAs began in early 1990s and there are innumerable theoretical and empirical literature to assess the impact and motives of such trade bloc formations. Let's see some current trends on RTAs. As of 7th April 2015, some 612 notifications of RTAs had been received by the WTO. Of these, 406 are in force. Now let's see the economic theory behind the concept of RTA. The static effect of regional integration was propounded by Jacob Wiener in 1950 in his theory of customs union. The theory compared international trade creation and diversion effects, and it is a building block upon which theories of regional integrations are built on. Wiener pointed out that the welfare effects of customs union rely on various factors like demand and supply elasticity, geographical proximity and the availability of substitutes. Then there is Comprehensive Economic Cooperation Agreement and Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement coming under the ambit of economic integration. CECA and CEPA are other forms of trade agreements. Under this arrangement, there will be considerable reduction in tariff rates. Countries sign CECA first and then gradually move towards CEPA-like agreement. CECA and CEPA are pacts between two countries for economic cooperation. CEPA ensures higher level of cooperation with the signatories. Here, along with the reduction in tariffs, there will be cooperation in trade and services, investments, which ultimately results in wider scope for trade partnerships. While in the case of CECA, the emphasis is on reduction of tariffs or elimination of tariffs in a gradual manner. The two terms came in limelight recently as India signed a CEPA with Japan and CECA with Malaysia. India also has a CEPA with South Korea. Another country with which India has recently entered into an economic pact is Singapore. The terms are important for bilateral economic cooperation. The two types of agreements are almost similar in nature. However, the major difference lies in the use of words cooperation and partnership in the two types of economic pacts. Another difference between CEPA and CECA is that it is CECA that gets signed between two countries first, and then the two countries move ahead in the direction of CEPA. For example, India and Sri Lanka signed off a treaty of economic cooperation called Free Trade Agreement in 1998. India embarked on gradual removal of tariffs, which was finally achieved in 2003. Sri Lanka, on its part, started removing tariffs and achieved it in 2008. The two countries then started talks on CEPA, which also covers trade and services and investments. In the context of international economic law, regionalism has many aspects. Regional integration creates international economic law subsystems. The scope and structure of these subsystems are different. They have complex economic relationships with the multilateral trading system represented by the WTO. Many international economists perceive that regionalization poses serious threat to multilateralism due to a variety of reasons. According to them, multilateralism scores over regionalism in many respects, especially from the welfare point of view. Preferential agreements are sometimes trade diverting and act as hindrances for achieving the goal of multilateralism. Regionalism may not augur well for a collective good of the world trading system. Hence, regional integration has its own merits and demerits. Hence, world nations should be highly cautious while entering into such agreements. With this, I would like to conclude this session on economic integrations. Until we meet again, bye.